guys, welcome to my kitchen. Kaitlin here, and this month is Nourished November. So we're talking about all things Thanksgiving and how to stay nourished during the holiday season. So if you didn't know, we wrote a book in 2019 called Nourished, 10 Ingredients to Happy Healthy Eating. And it's a great resource, and it's basically, everything I would want to say in session, just written down about healthy eating and what that looks like. So I love this book. I'm going to reference a little bit of it as we're talking about our Thanksgiving side dishes. But it basically walks through, what type of eater are you, meal planning, how to set up your kitchen, recipes, meal ideas. So it's really a useful tool. So love it. You can get it on our website. But last week, one of my blogs went up about a low carb Thanksgiving. So basically how to watch your blood sugars or manage your blood sugars during Thanksgiving, which is a high carb kind of meal. And so I'm going to be making two of my favorite side dishes. One is stuffing. Love stuffing. It's what I look forward to every year. But I'm doing a low carb stuffing. And then a vegetable side dish, which is roasted Brussels with a little bit of a festive flair, which makes them super yummy. So I'll tell you about the Brussels sprouts real quick. They're in the oven, but basically I took about a pound of Brussels sprouts. I cut off the little nub there, just a little bit of it, and then cut it in half. Tossed them in oil. I like to do avocado oil when it's being cooked at a high heat, has a better heat tolerance or a higher smoke point. And then a little bit of salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And so those are in the oven roasting 425 degrees until they're nice and crisp. And I usually turn them halfway through just to make sure they cook evenly. So the Brussels are in the oven. We'll talk about them a little bit later, how to finish them up. Okay, reason why I like to bring a vegetable dish or have a vegetable dish at Thanksgiving is I'm not a big casserole person, and I don't really like green bean casserole. I know it's kind of a love-hate relationship. Some people love it, some people hate it. I don't particularly love it. So I like to have kind of a fresher vegetable option. Whether it's roasted green beans, I make like a crunchy almond topping, that's on our website, or these roasted Brussels sprouts. It's a really great benefit from a blood sugar standpoint because having that extra fiber on your plate with the vegetables is going to help keep your blood sugar more stable. So with blood sugars, carbs increase blood sugar, they spike the blood sugar, but protein and fiber can help slow down digestion and slow how quickly our blood sugar can spike. So it's nice when you're having like a carb heavy meal to make sure you have a great source of protein and fiber. So turkey's great protein, and veggies can be a good source of fiber. However, you can get some fiber by doing a low carb stuffing as well. So I cheated, and the way that this is low carb is I use a loaf of low carb bread. So a favorite of mine is Schmidt 647 bread, if you've ever tried it. It's I think it's 7 grams of net carbs. It's a low carb, high fiber bread. Actually tastes pretty good. And it can makes for a really easy substitute in recipes. So I use the Schmidt 647 bread here. You could also use any other type of bread that you like. What I do is I shred the loaf of bread. This is about half of a loaf because the other half is already made. And then I either leave it out overnight to dry out. Dropped a piece. The dogs will get it. Or you put it in the oven at about 200, 225 degrees for 45 minutes to an hour, and it'll really dry out, so you get kind of like a crouton-y feeling to it. That way when you mix it with all of the other ingredients, it doesn't get too soggy. So we start with our shredded bread, and then we're gonna add a little bit of extra protein. So what I had done before coming on is I sauteed up or browned some ground turkey sausage. I like just to do the mild Italian flavored sausage. And then after I browned that, I took it out of the pan, and then I put celery and onion and a little bit of oil. I sauteed that until it was soft. And the very last minute of cooking, I added a couple cloves of garlic, and then turned off the heat. You're gonna add all of these things, all of the ingredients together. So you wanna make sure things are cool, so it doesn't cook the egg that's gonna go into the mixture. Okay, so what do we got? I'm gonna add the onion and celery mixture to the bowl. It's about, so for the full recipe, it's about 6 ribs of celery and a full onion, and then 4 cloves of garlic. I'm gonna add the bread. Now, one thing about this 647 bread, like I said, I like it. However, some people have sensitive stomachs, and something that's really this high in fiber can cause some bloating and discomfort. So I wouldn't say that this low carb bread alternative is for everyone, but a lot of people do like it. So it can be a good option. You could also do whole wheat bread, something with a little bit of fiber. Just like I said, fiber helps keep blood sugar more stable. Okay, so we got the bread, we got the sausage, the onion, and the celery in here. We're also gonna add some broth. This is veggie broth. You can do chicken broth. It's really up to you. For the full recipe, it's 2 cups of broth. And then some whisked egg. And that's why you want the veggies to be cooled, because you don't want to cook the egg before we're ready. So add in the egg. And then I've got some poultry seasoning and some extra thyme, just because I like thyme. Usually I do it fresh, but the grocery store didn't have any fresh thyme yesterday when I went. So we're going with dried. And then a little bit of salt. My father-in-law makes the best stuffing. That is what I show up to Thanksgiving for every year, is his stuffing. It's so delicious. Gonna mix it all up. Oh, the recipe on our website does include pine nuts. Another thing I couldn't find at the store, unfortunately. That's COVID for us. But you could definitely add some pine nuts. I haven't tried any other nuts, but maybe walnuts or something like that would be good. Okay, so you just stir to coat, make sure everything gets nice and eggy. Okay, cool. Okay, and there we go, got the mixture. So what I'm gonna do now is take a pan. Again, if you were doing the full recipe, you would do a 13x9 and spray it. This is a half recipe, so I'm just gonna do a 9x9 and pour it into the pan. Okay. And just spread it evenly. And then what I like to do, you can go crazy and dot it with some butter before you put it in the oven. Or you can get something like avocado oil spray and just give it a good spray on top, for a little bit of fat on top so it can get crispy. All right. I know a lot of people put stuffing in the bird, in the turkey, to get extra flavoring in there. The one caution you have with that is the stuffing takes longer than the turkey does, so you're either left with cooked stuffing and a dry turkey, or undercooked stuffing and the turkey being just right. So you have to be careful if you do put the stuffing inside the turkey. But I like to have it on the outside. So you just cover it and then put it in the oven. That'll bake for 25 minutes or so. And then you'll take the foil off and bake it for another 25 or 30 minutes until the top is nice and brown. So we'll check on that in a few minutes and we'll talk about our Brussels. All right. So I roasted the Brussels until they were nice and crispy. Probably about 30 or 35 minutes. Like I said, tossed in oil, salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And now we're gonna make it festive. So, this is also a great side dish for Christmas because it's actually red and green. So, that makes it festive. So I'm gonna plate up the Brussels. And we're gonna top it with some yummy toppings. Okay. So we have our plate of Brussels. And what we're gonna do now to make it a little festive, that was hot. I have some more green chopped pistachios. So I like to top those with a good covering of pistachios for a little bit of crunch. And then pomegranate arrows. So I went for the shortcut and I bought already arrows that are out of the pomegranate versus having to do it myself. And I'm just gonna sprinkle them over. You can save a decent amount of money by getting it out of the pomegranate yourself, but I wanted to save the time. And we're just gonna sprinkle with a bunch of pomegranate arrows, and it's so pretty. Oh, I love this dish. Okay, so we have our roasted Brussels sprouts with chopped pistachios and pomegranate arrows. It's so delicious, and it's just something different from green bean casserole or salad or your regular Brussels sprouts. So I love this. It's so tasty. You should try it. All right, back to our low carb stuffing. So one of the things that I like to talk about with this is, do I have to low carbify, made up that word, my Thanksgiving? And the true answer is no. You don't need to low carb everything. What I want to make sure is that you are mindful. And in our Nourished book, we do have a section on mindfulness. Where is it? If you have the book, it's on page 93, or it's about eating at home and being mindful. And part of that is recognizing your hunger and your fullness, and recognizing also what it is that you're truly craving. Like me, I show up for the stuffing. I'm gonna go for the stuffing, but maybe I'm not a big fan of sweet potato casserole, or maybe I can have that dinner roll any day of the year. So really choosing which carbohydrates you want to utilize in your meal, and then balancing it with protein and fiber like we mentioned already. So it's not necessarily that you have to cut out all of these traditional Thanksgiving foods, but more so being mindful about what you're putting onto your plate. And also recognizing fullness. In here there's a hunger and fullness scale, and it's important to recognize where I am in that hunger scale. Am I satisfied? Am I full but uncomfortable? Am I very full, or am I overly full? And we kind of use that overly full as like a Thanksgiving dinner, overly full, like you've gone a little bit too far. And so eating slowly and recognizing your fullness so that you can stop before you're completely uncomfortable. Another thing that can help keep your blood sugar more stable is not going all day without eating. Some people kind of fast the morning of Thanksgiving, and then are completely ravenous by the time Thanksgiving comes around, and then they'll overeat. So the best thing you can do for more stable blood sugars is to eat breakfast, eat lunch, or at least a snack, and then have your Thanksgiving dinner. That'll help keep your blood sugar more stable through the day. Third thing that I would recommend, I actually haven't been keeping track, so I don't know if that's third, but the next thing I would recommend is maybe go for a little bit of a walk. Move your body. When we eat, our blood sugar rises. When we move our body, it comes back down. So knowing that your blood sugar is going to be higher after Thanksgiving dinner, that's okay. Maybe go for a walk with the family and help it come back down. So just a few tips. You don't have to low carbify everything for your Thanksgiving dinner, but if you do, this is a great stuffing recipe. I love it. So let me pull it out of the oven. Okay, so this one has been in the top off so that it gets nice and brown. You can see like the sausage and the veggies in there, and the top is crispy. Ooh, I love this stuff. I'm just gonna poke. I might take a bite. It's so good. Okay, yeah. You could definitely do this vegetarian and just omit the sausage and use like a veggie broth. Oh yeah, this looks good. It's like still moist in the center and then nice and crispy on top. Oh, it's nice and steaming. Yeah, that's my favorite Thanksgiving dish. Yum. Okay, both of these recipes are up on our website. The last blog that went up on yesterday, was how to cook a turkey breast, but last week was low carb Thanksgiving. So check that out for those recipes. They're so delicious. And then also, if you're interested in our Nourished book, it's on our website as well. So thanks for joining me. Just some tips on how to manage blood sugar through the holiday season. And we'll be back next month, talking about some more holiday eating tips. So thanks for joining me, guys. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments.